Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome back to the Inibuild A350 1000. It's been a little while since we've flown this particular model, and today we're going to take it from Amsterdam to Hong Kong, which is around an 11-hour flight. I'm particularly excited for this one because it is going to be the first flight where we actually have a heads-up display installed in the aircraft. So, really looking forward to this, but before we start, a quick message from today's sponsor, Say Intentions AI. If you're looking for an ATC add-on that can not just do your standard IFR A to B flight, but also other stuff like data link, VFR that can handle traffic, and that even provides a cabin crew simulation, then Say Intentions may just about be for you. We'll be using them in today's video for both the cabin crew as well as our air traffic control, so if you like what you're about to see, then check them out using the link in the pinned comment or the video description below. Last but not least, a small notice that unfortunately at the moment Inibuild has broken the data link compatibility from their side, so their aircraft is not capable of communicating with Say Intentions at the moment, so it will be voice procedures only. Now this kind of stuff does happen in the real world as well. There are exceptions that allow you to still fly the aircraft even with those things broken, so this is absolutely realistic. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go right inside, and here we are in the A350. The airplane is cold and dark at the moment. You can already see the HUD controls right here, and the displays themselves are in their stowed position up here. So with those basics out of the way, let's go ahead and start working our way through the aircraft. So the engine master levers are off, start selector norm, thrust levers idle, landing gear down, wipers off. Now we can check the battery voltage, making sure it is above 25 volts, and this is looking excellent. And then let's go ahead and power up the batteries as well as the external power units. The airplane is going to come to life. Things might take a little moment over here now for everything to power up, but we can make good use of the time and have a look into today's flight plan while we're waiting. So let's go ahead and have a look at the sim brief plan. We are departing Amsterdam today, crossing Germany, crossing the Balkans, and then it's more or less a straight line into China, where we will then turn southbound towards Hong Kong. In terms of the significant weather chart, a couple of thunderstorms every now and then, which is typical for European summer conditions. Once we are past Turkey and reaching the Black Sea, things are going to smooth out a little bit. And finally, going into China, we do have a couple of CBs again, and then close to Hong Kong, we are waiting for a hurricane. And that's going to be the particularly interesting point today, because if we have a look at the airport weather, you will immediately see that fun conditions are waiting for us over in Hong Kong. Currently it's temporary 25, gust 35, and the forecast tells us exactly that. They will have gusts, they will have low visibilities, CBs, and all of that with those lovely mountains nearby. So that's going to make things very interesting. Now, for our alternate, Guangzhou is our first alternate, and you can see over here the weather is actually supposed to be good. They only get the weather a little bit later than Hong Kong, so we should be totally fine going into Guangzhou. Now, for the plan itself, departing on time means landing half an hour ahead of schedule. We are not limited by any of our weights, and finally going down into the fuel section, we can think about how much extra we want to take for the weather, and I'd say at least half an hour. Now, half an hour, as we can see up here, is 2,700 kilos, and to carry those, we need an additional 1,000, so we end up at 3,700 kilos extra. So that means, in terms of the fuel, 83.1 is the planned takeoff, plus 600 taxi, so that's 83.7, plus another 3.7 on top, is 87.4, and that's going to be our final fuel figure for the day. So with that out of the way, let's return into our flight deck, where the aircraft has already powered up in the meantime, and let's go straight down into the OIS. Now, we're going to start down here on the ground services, and just cross-check shocks, GPU, both connected. Then let's go to the load sheet and import our SimBrief stuff over here. Completely full, 367 passengers, at least once they have finished importing. So zero fuel weight is set, completely full. Fuel, we said we wanted 87.4, I believe. Let's just load that, that's good. And we'll do an instant refueling because otherwise it is going to take a little bit too long. Now let's go to the ground menu and we can do request boarding already, handling by Donata. And that's it. Now let's start with our basic OAS setup. So flight up status, we can do our sim brief import down here. Then let's continue via the ground menu where everything is already set up. Then the load sheet is already checked as well. OFP is downloaded. Takeoff performance. We are departing from SimBrief and the weather is uplinked. That's fine. I'm going to go for a wet runway because there are showers in the vicinity. The rest is looking good. Let's hit compute. And 320 is the performance limited weight. We are quite a bit below that. And look at that. We actually need a toga takeoff. That's interesting. But I'm gonna go for it. And lastly, we need some charts. So let's go for Amsterdam. So APC main terminal, that should be for us. Yes, it is. We're up here on Golf 7. And that actually leads us all the way down to the runway, so that's very nice. Alright, now for our SID charts, that's going to be a little bit more interesting, finding the correct one. So let's see, our SID is the Arnhem 3 Sierra departure. And down here we've got runway 24, Kilo and Sierra, so that should theoretically be it. And that is looking good indeed. Alright, let's pin that one as well, and that's our OAS setup complete. Then let's move back to the overhead panel, where we are going to turn on the ADRs 1, 2, and 3. APU fire test is looking good. Then we can move down. Dispatch page, currently not simulated. Recall for 3 seconds, nothing in here. And then oxygen is good, rain repellent is good. Let's head down to the hydraulics, which are, well, showing slightly below level right now, but I believe that's due to the cargo doors, so that's going to be fine for the time being. And then for the engines, let's power up the FADAC. Man, this thing is always lagging when looking outside. Okay, so FADAC coming to life. And that is most definitely not sufficient for today's flight, so let's head over into the maintenance menus. So, flight ops, maintenance, and service the engine oil. Alright, here we go, that's better. 23.5. Wonderful. Perfect. So then, we're gonna kill the FADAC. It takes a little moment to go off, and with that, our preliminary pre-flight is basically completed, so let's go right into the cockpit preparation procedure. Now, you guys are well familiar with that by now, so I'm just going to go over it. Also, let's go ahead and start the APU in order to get some air conditioning going. Refueling is complete, so let's turn on the fuel pumps like this, and everything up here is looking good. Down here is looking good. We got no temperature sensitives on the front hold, so we can turn that off, saving a little bit of fuel, and everything else looking good up here. Now, let's go down to our takeoff performance and cross-check the QNH, which is 1003. And that's set. Alright, up here everything's checked. Now let's get our charts. And we need the terminal chart, pin charts, and, well, I suppose we do need an AGC as well in order to get our frequencies. Okay, so Schiphol 8 is departure 122205. What was that? So you can see the sim lagging a little bit. Let me show you a little trick on how you can usually fix that. It's going down into the dynamic settings. Let's just set an appropriate frame rate. I'm going to go with a little bit higher here, 80 or something. Let's save that, and that should hopefully fix some of the lags that we keep seeing.
Route 1600 Zulu, advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee. Amsterdam Airport, information Yankee. 1225 Zulu. Wind 200 at 13. Visibility 6. Sky conditions. View at 1500 feet. View cumulonimbus at 2500 feet. Scattered at 3200 feet. Temperature 22. Dew.19er. QNH1003. Density altitude 1100.
Okay, thanks. We don't need a density, altitude and stuff because we wouldn't get that in the real world either. Alright, so you can have some comms as well, and we would definitely have a third pilot on a flight like this, so let's bring up some more comms. And this is looking good. Alright then, up into the FMS. So delete anything that was previously stored. Let's get the table out, including the keyboard. And then let's go. So, A350-1000, the nav database is up to date. We can clear any of those scratchpad messages. Then, init, flight plan request. Might take a little while to uplink. Here we go, and insert. Now, let's see how long that's actually gonna take. Still uplinking, and here we go. So, that's Cathay 270 from Amsterdam to Hong Kong, alternate Guangzhou. Flight level 330 is correct. Now, let's see. Temperature up there is minus 46. And the level of the tropopause is 40,000. Alright, enter. Then cost index is good. IRS is aligning, will be available in 4 minutes. Alright, so departure, runway. That's going to be 24. And the SID is going to be, let's see, the RNM3 Sierra departure. And that's this one. Alright, and insert. For our arrival in Hong Kong, I'm expecting 07 left for the time being with an ILS approach. And we are arriving via Sierra, so they have the Sierra 7 Alpha arrival. And via Limes. Alright, and insert. Looking good. Back to init, nav8, there is nothing hard-tuned, we don't need anything hard-tuned, that's good. Then, fuel and load. Let's see, zero fuel is 200.2. We don't know a CG yet, so I'm just going to enter 25. The block fuel is 87.4. Passenger numbers unknown for the time being. 600 taxi is good. Let's scroll down a little bit and find the fuel section. Here it is, so alternate 3.8. What is it doing? 3.8. That's interesting. Something was not going right with my inputs there. And the same over here again. 2.7. Okay, and the reserves 2.3. Or the contingency, I should call it correctly. Alright, so return and back to takeoff performance. Let's go to takeoff performance down here as well. Send to FMS. And here it is. Confirm. Looking good. And that is a flaps 1 takeoff. Noise abatement 2. Engine out acceleration 1500, please. Like this. Position monitor. Departing Echo Hotel Alpha Mike 24. Entered. And now let's go back to the climb page. Auto derate is selected, toga is selected, transition 3000 is correct. Secondary, import, active, flight plan. Let's wait for that to load. Amsterdam, insert next waypoint, and that's going to be Amsterdam Emergency 4. So, based on Echo Hotel Alpha Mike runway 24. Let's see, the runway track is 237, as you can see up there. Alright, and the distance for this one, 25. Okay, store that waypoint. And then we can enter the holding down there as well. Looking good. And then, from Amsterdam, new destination, going back to Amsterdam. And the arrival will be on runway 18 right with an ILS approach, please. Alright, so like this, and that's all looking good. So back to the flight plan page, and then we can continue down here. So, the complete flight plan page, please. Thank you. So, flight plan info, fix info. Departure from Echo Hotel Alpha Mike 24. Now we're drawing the extended center line in here. Enter, and the radial will be 237. Then we need the emergency waypoint as well, which is going to be AMS X4. And here we go. So that's everything entered. Nice. That's how I like these things. Cool. So let's now go for the step altitudes. Back onto the OFP. Back to the top. And then we start in flight level 330, and at Subud we climb to flight level 350. So that's Subud and level 350. Next we're going to climb to flight level 3... Well, let's see, 370 is actually over here at Sunpu. So at Kamut we go up to 351, which is Chinese for flight level 350. And then at Sunpu flight level 371. Alright, and that's the last step climb along our route. Alright, Tempe and insert. Lovely. So, with those entered, let's go back to the performance init and do the wind data request, which is on the way now. And insert. Why don't we have a flight number, by the way? That's strange. So it's Charlie Papa Alpha 270. Alright, that's better, isn't it? Excellent. So, IRS alignment is complete. Boarding is ongoing. I don't know why GSX has picked those incorrect passenger numbers, but I suppose I'm never gonna find out anyway. Initial should be 60. And you get the same setup. So let's get the airport map. Might take a little moment to load since Amsterdam is a rather large airport. And once that thing has loaded, we can just cross-check our SID and then go straight into the briefing. So what's that doing? Still loading? This thing is taking a while. Here it is, lovely. Okay, cool. So that thing's done. Then let's head over to the right-hand seat. Or rather, let's just cross-check the SID. So, bring me the SID chart, please. So, departing Amsterdam, Alpha Mike 001. Actually, Alpha Mike 005, number 2. That's Arnhem 3 Sierra, yeah, that's correct. Okay, 005, then a left turn 208, maximum 220, then we have waypoint 026, followed by a left-hand turn towards Ivlut, Niker, and Arnhem. Alright, so that routing is looking correct. Very good. So that stuff's done, then let's go ahead and actually grab the IFR clearance. Schiphol delivery, Cathay 270 Heavy Information Sierra, request IFR clearance to Hong Kong. What? So they always need a little while when collecting the clearance, that is normal. On data link you don't notice that, because there's always a lag in the real world as well. But when getting the voice clearance you do notice.
Cathay 270, information Yankee is current. Clear to Hong Kong via the ARN3 Sierra departure runway 24. Initial climb to 6,000 feet. Departure on 118.08, squawk 3553.
Cathay 270 is cleared to Hong Kong via the RM3 Sierra departure runway 24, climb altitude 6,000. Departure 118.08, squawk 3553.
Cathay 270, read back correct. Ground is on 121.56, safe flight, sir.
121.56, Cathay 5, correction 270. To 1. Man, what's it doing? What on earth? 12156, that's it.
Welcome aboard Cathay Pacific Flight 270.
Alright, and that's what we'll take.
To Hong Kong.
Lovely.
We kindly ask you to take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to contact our friendly crew members. My
Okay,
name is
so
Sato, and alongside me are my wonderful colleagues Anna, Mark, Lisa, and
all that
Tom.
stuff is done. Then I suggest we are going to go over to the first officer's seat for the departure briefing, please. Okay, so we are departing Schiphol today from runway 24, and it's going to be the RM3 Sierra departure. Initial climb 6,000, and 2,000 feet is going to keep us safe. However, I do prefer to climb 3,000 just to get us a little bit more air beneath our keel. Now for our standard departure, well, you're gonna get to that in a few moments, so that's fine. And we've got an extra fuel of 1,100 kilos, which equals 12 minutes. Alright, thanks for that. So we are going to depart from runway 24. There's no hotspots for our taxi routing, and we have no stop margin information, but it is not going to be much, that much I can tell you. Now, for our emergencies, in case of an engine out, we climb straight at to an altitude of 3,000 feet. We can come back. Runway 18 right is prepared on our secondary flight plan. We are going to be overweight though by about 50 tons, so overweight landing procedure or fuel dumping, but I'm probably much more of a fan of the overweight landing procedure. Actually, we don't even have fuel dumping installed on this aircraft, so that's fine as well. Okay, apart from that, we've got nothing special or non-standard. We will be using the heads-up display today, which is a first, but shouldn't really change any of our required procedures anyway. And that's it for the briefing from my side. No threats, nothing miscellaneous. Do you have any questions? No? Lovely. So that's our briefing complete. In that case, cockpit preparation checklist, please. So, gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity. That's 87,400 kilograms balanced. And barrel reference, QNH 1003. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Okay, so just while we're on it, for the clearance, RM3 Sierra departure, runway 24, initial 6,000, 11808. I'm just going to tune that over here as a reminder. 1808, and then
KLM 12904, taxi to parking via Golf 6, cross runway 22, then hotel, cross runway 18 left, then Echo 1, Bravo, Alpha 15, Bravo, Alpha 17.
Alright, that's looking excellent. Perfect, so that's our clearance cross-check.
Cross runway 22, then hotel, cross runway 18 left. then Echo 1 Bravo.
So, boarding is about
Alpha
completed.
15,
Let's say
Bravo,
hello to our passengers.
Alpha 17, KLM 12904.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel in the name of Cathay. Welcome aboard our Airbus A350 1000 on this flight to Hong Kong. We do expect a flight time of approximately 11 hours today, with a mostly smooth flight. Some occasional turbulence can, however, be expected. The weather in our destination at the moment, a little bit gusty, winds and some rain showers moving through. For the time being, thank you very much for being on board today. Sit back, relax and enjoy the flight with us, and if there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please do not hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. Thank you very much for your attention, and once again, welcome aboard. Alright, passengers are dealt with. Let's see what our ground handling is doing. Boarding seems completed. Is it? Yes, boarding completed. Lovely. So, prepare position for pushback and departure, please. And then let's go right down into the load sheet. So, in it, fuel and load. Let's see, zero fuel weight is 200.2 and the CG 31.5. Alright, and we've got 367 passengers on board. So, that's a gross weight of 287.0. And we had calculated 283. Okay, so synchronize that, please. And in here we are going to go with 287. Alright, that looks good. Compute. So, TOCA takeoff 137, 152, 161. Now, for the time being, it seems like the rain has moved past and is rather dry. So let's just recalculate this for a dry runway. And then we're going to get 38 degrees, 535562. That looks good. Send to FMS. And confirm takeoff speeds with a flex of 38. Looking excellent. Wonderful. So we are done so far. They seem to be quite ready. It can only be that option for the pushback, so that's fine. Remove the GPU, remove the chocks, park and brake is set. So let's go ahead and call for pushback. Skipple ground, Cathay 270 heavy, request pushback and startup.
Cathay 270, pushback and startup approved. Face north.
Pushback and startup approved, facing north, Cathay 270. Alright. Ground from cockpit. Go ahead. So, push and start approved, facing north, and the park and brake is set. Release brakes, please. Brakes released. Thank you. Start with pushback, stand by for engines. Stand by. And then let's do the before start checklist. Park and brake, released. Takeoff speeds and thrust. So, V1 153, VR 155, V2 162, flex 38. Slides. Let's see if they arm automatically when the airplane moves, but I don't think so. So might as well do it ourselves. Okay, slides armed. No slow steering disconnect memo is checked. Before start checklist complete.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Cathay.
Okay, great.
Departing from Amsterdam.
So we don't need this anymore.
Please ensure that your seatbelts are fastened low and tight.
We do, however, need this.
To unbuckle, simply lift the buckle. In the unlikely event of a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask.
Okay, wonderful.
The panel above you.
So, ground from flight deck. We are ready for engine start. In sequence 1, then 2.
Secure it with the elastic band.
Roger, clear to start both engines.
Secure your own mask before
Starting
assisting
both.
others. In case of an emergency evacuation, please leave your luggage behind.
Okay.
The nearest exit. The emergency
Felix
exits
powering.
Airbus
Then we do need 10
are
seconds.
located at the front, middle, and rear of the cabin. Take a moment to locate your nearest exit, which may be behind you. For our
Here we go, 10 seconds, engine 1 start.
under your seat. To use them, pull the vest out, place it over your head.
Okay, push completed, set brakes.
Inflate the vest by pulling the red tab
Brake set.
once you're outside the aircraft. We have a fantastic crew.
However, we're moving forward. Not again.
Emma, Lucas, Sophie, and Noah. Our captain for this flight is Emmanuel, and our first officer is Stephanie. The estimated flight time is approximately 11 hours. Thank you for choosing Cathay.
Okay, well, brakes released. Let's see what is actually going to happen. Are they pulling us forward or is it bugging? No, they're pulling us. Okay. That's okay then. Alright, so we've got a good start in engine number 1, starting engine number 2. Clear 2. Engine 2 start. Oh, it's got quiet. So, pulling us all the way forward up here. Number 2 is coming. And looks like the pushback is complete now. Alright, park and brake set. So, GSX is disconnecting. Come on, stop flashing there. You got nothing to flash about. And the same goes for you. Thank you. Alright, ground. We have 2 good engine starts. You clear to disconnect. Shown with the pin on the right hand side. Please have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Ground, Alpine 64 Echo Papa, taxi to the gate.
Alpine 64 Echo Papa, taxi
Okay,
to parking via Victor
so-
Zulu Alpha 28 Alpha A19 East.
Victor Zulu, Alpha 28 Alpha
They're just
A19
doing
East,
nothing.
Alpine 64 Echo Papa.
Lovely. Did I forget to set the parking brake? No, I did not. So GSX is doing GSX things again. Alright, thank you very much. Interrupt pushback, yes. And come on, just vanish, please. That's looking better. Okay, so let's assume the clear signal is seen. Flight control track. Full up. Full down. Neutral.
City 1337, contact tower on 118.75. Over to tower, City
Full right.
1337.
Neutral, rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. After start checklist, please. So, anti-ice, off. Flight controls, checked. Ground clearance, received. After start checklist, complete. Cathay 270, request taxi. Come on. Do
Cathay
something.
270, taxi to runway 24 via A19 Center Alpha Alpha 8 Sierra 7.
Taxi runway 24 via Alpha Alpha 8 and Sierra 7, Cathay 270. Okay, that's the standard taxi route that we are well familiar with. Let's actually open up the parking chart over here, that makes things easier. So, Alpha, Alpha, Sierra 7.
Cathay 270, taxi to runway 24 via Alpha Alpha 8 Sierra 7 approved.
Yeah, clear right side. And he seems to be waiting for us on the left side, that's good. So, brake released. Let's go. Brake check. Brakes okay. So, the HUD is down as well now. So the right side is clear and we're going on to Alpha. And he's holding position with the A330-900. Alright, and I tell you what, the HUD is so dark that I'm just going to recline it again until we actually reach the takeoff position. Alright, so we've got no changes to the takeoff briefing. Cabin ready. Takeoff config normal. Good. Okay, taxi checklist please. Flap setting, config 1+F. Radar on, taxi checklist complete. So, did you notice something? Two things actually. Let's start with the, well, kinda necessary because it happens on every video GSX rant. Did you notice how during the entire boarding the simulator just had those occasional freezes? Well, look at that. Ever since boarding is complete, we no longer have those, aka GSX bug. Again. Now let's talk about something more positive, and that's the airport itself. You might have noticed something on the outside there. We do have grass. We do not have any trees or anything the likes. We actually have vehicles riding on the correct roads. Now that's a free mod from flightsim.to that goes compatible with Flight Tampa's Amsterdam that actually adds all the grass and all the kind of stuff that Flight Tampa does not have by default. Pretty nice mod, available totally for free, and if I don't forget, it's going to be linked in the video description below. Okay then, so we just went into that turn over here. From there, let's go still south in Alpha. Both sides are clear. Sometimes I find it a little hard to navigate in Amsterdam, at least when I'm just looking outside, because that turn over here and that turn down there looks so similar to me. Obviously, someone who's based locally would be able to distinguish that a little bit better, but that's where the ANF just really comes into play, and where the ANF just proves really, really useful. Alright, so up there we're gonna go left and then to the runway, and that's it already. Okay, so no changes, huh? Let's get the HUD down. Also dim it a little bit. The way you're supposed to use the HUD is that you have it just bright enough that you can see everything, but the focus shall definitely be what you see on the outside, not what you see on the heads-up display. That's why we dim it that much. Okay, so 3 armed modes, that's exactly the same that we see on the FMA down there as well. And then here's Sierra 7. So we are ready for the
270, contact tower on 118.105, have a good afternoon.
118.105, Cathay 107, you two?
Anatolia 9er Kilo November.
And that was a completely wrong call sign, but doesn't matter. Schiphol Tower, Cathay 270 Heavy, ready for departure.
Cathay 270 Heavy, Schiphol Tower, runway 24, winds 190 at 5, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 24, clear for takeoff, Cathay 270. Okay, we're clear on the left side. Nothing on approach. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Lineup checklist. So, cabin, secured, takeoff runway, 24, Sierra 7, packs 1 and 2, on, lineup checklist complete. So, not allowed to use ANF for takeoff, weather on both sides, since that seems to be the rather more important item here. Okay, it looks rather dark out there. Let's just do a quick scan on the radar before setting takeoff thrust. Okay, and that's actually pretty clear. Okay, ready? Takeoff. Manflex 38, SRS, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. $100 knots, checked.
D1.
Rotate. So 12.5 degrees pitch, positive climb, gear up. Nav, checked. Autopilot 1.
270. Contact departure on 118.088.
118.08 Cathay 270. Thrust decline, climb, auto thrust. Schiphol departure, Cathay 270 Heavy, passing 1,400.
Cathay 270 Heavy, Schiphol departure identified. Climb flight level 060.
Maintain level 060, Cathay 270. Okay, so 220 knot restriction, that means we can't retract the flaps just yet. But don't worry about the speed indicator. When passing 210, is it a little bit more in here? In any case, the flaps will automatically retract, leaving just the slats extended when we get too close to the speed limit.
Cathay 270, climb flight level 190.
Climb flight level 190, Cathay 270. $19,000 blue.
Cathay 270, say again.
Cathay 270, climbing flight level 190. Set standard. Standard cross check, passing flight level 34 now. Checked. Alright, another mile until the speed restriction is lifted. And here we go. So, flap 0. Speed checked.
Split radar, Transavia 6261, flight level 150.
Flap 0.
Transavia 6261, radar contact.
So, acceleration flow pattern, flaps up, speed brakes up, landing gear up, and packs on. And that's the flow pattern complete.
City 1337, contact Langen radar on 135.65.
Okay then, so far so good.
Langen radar on 135.65.
Let's see what the weather radar says on the larger scale. Looks like nothing significant, but that's looking good so far. So, I'm not gonna ask for any shortcut, that would bring us closer to the weather. And since we would be on the downwind side,
direct Sierra
I'd rather
Papa
stay on the
401.
upwind side.
Cleared for the RNAV Z, runway
And then I
05
think
approach.
those,
Descend and maintain altitude
what's that,
2800
5 or 6
until
miles or
established.
so to the weather isn't particularly wrong.
Down to 2800, cleared for the RNAV Z, runway 05 approach. Transavia 6261.
Cathay 270, climb flight level 230.
Cathay 270, climbing flight level 230. Flight level 230 blue. Alright, so let's have a look. Arrival at 21:39, schedule is 22:10, so we are half an hour early as predicted, 11.6 tons, and that leaves us an extra fuel of 1 hour on arrival. And I think with the forecast Typhoon, that is absolutely the right thing to have. Alright, so far so good. Then optimum 339, cruising 330.
Golf Air 4 contact Amsterdam info on
Do
124.3.
note that our engine out ceiling is rather
Over to
low at
Amsterdam
level
info on
202
124.3,
because
Golf
of
Air
the
4.
high weight. So that's something to keep in mind.
Emirates 69 Romeo contact Amsterdam info on 124.3.
So I'll just
Over to
turn the
Amsterdam
HUD's
info
brightness
on
up a little bit
124.3,
because we are now
Emirates
looking
69
at the
Romeo.
bright sky rather than the dark clouds. And just a small comment on the HUD while we're talking about it. The default viewpoint is rather low. Something like this would be more appropriate. I do hope AnyBuild is eventually going to correct for that, because now we can actually see the HUD correctly, while still not blocking the view of any of the displays, so this is definitely better. Alrighty. So, we are already nearing level 100 after just about 6 minutes, well, 7 minutes by the time we reach level 100. You can definitely feel the weight. It's quite interesting. We are at 285 tons right now, which is actually 5 tons more than what we had on the 900 flight from Singapore to
Cathay
New York.
270, climb flight level 270.
Cathay 270, climbing flight level 270. So we're actually heavier than the 900 flight from Singapore to New York, which is the longest airline flight in the world.
Cathay 270, say again.
Cathay 270, climbing level 270. Man, am I talking Asian? Okay, so passing level 100, lights off. We're going to wait a little bit with the seatbelt sign until we are through those clouds over here. And other than that, we've already looked down here. 330 versus 340. And the
Dear guests,
nav
we are
aids
now at a
are
safe
checked.
altitude, and you are welcome to use your electronic devices.
Alright, my friends, so with that we're on the way, and then I tend to say, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight, and I see you all on the approach to hopefully lovely, stormy Hong Kong.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Well, my friends, usually on these flights I promise you that I'm going to tell you that I will interrupt the cruise when something interesting happens to give you an update. This time I didn't promise you, but this time there actually is something interesting happening. So, you guys can see on the map where we're going at the moment, and you guys have asked me to cover GPS jamming for a while. Here you go. So, we're flying just south of the Ukrainian and Russian airspaces over here, and there is some GPS jamming going on. Now, you can see that by a couple of faults coming up over here, but as you can see, it's really mostly a non-event. So, what do we have then? Basically, ECAM actions. So, surveillance, TCAS 1 and 2 fault. Clear surveillance? Yep, clear surveillance. So, nav, GNSS 2 rejected by IRS. Clear nav? There is the button, here it is. Clear nav. Alright, nav GNSS 2 fault. Clear nav. Alright, and now that one's a little bit more interesting. Nav GNSS aircraft position disagree. And this one basically tells us that the GPS position is different from the FMS position down here in the FMS. So how are we going to go about that? We can see that there is actually an ECAM action over here. Aircraft position, check. So let's go ahead and check that. So the way we do this is we basically pick a VOR in the area, and look at that, it's auto-tuned Tango Bravo November VOR. So now let's go down onto the position monitor to Tango Bravo November. And this is definitely not showing us something correct down here. I guess it's probably chosen the wrong one. Let's just check though. So that should be Lima Tango Charlie Golf. Alright, yeah, look at that. It tuned the wrong VOR. Of course, when you want to show something like that, it messes up. So basically that VOR is located at that airport. Now what we do is the following. We tune that VOR. Now we could try with another one just to show you how this would really work. So let's use Echo Zulu November over there. So we enter Echo Zulu November down here, and then we are going to go onto the nav aids, and over here we enter Echo Zulu November. Tune, and here we go. So now, what happens is we get our Echo Zulu November VOR shown over here, 116 nautical miles, and the radial is basically 001 or 002. Over here the bearing is about 182 degrees. So what we do now is you go into the position monitor and you cross-check bearing 188. So yeah, well, that's not quite as accurate. And the distance 116 miles, that's spot on. Now, theoretically, a difference of 8 degrees over there would indicate quite a position error. However, I'm fairly sure that that's actually bugged at the moment. Oh, look at that. Accuracy upgraded, downgraded. Nav primary lost, that's fine. So basically we just compare those. I have a feeling this one is probably true, isn't it? Yeah, look at that. When we go onto a true track, we shouldn't need to. This should work correctly, so there's a bug down here, but look at that. It's radial, or rather bearing 192. Down here we can see bearing 192, distance 117 versus 117. That way we can cross-check that our aircraft position is correct. And what you can see as well, oh, look at that, nav primary. So we just left the GPS jamming area. So what you could see here in the meantime is that it no longer used the IRS GPS position, but it went into the backup using the data from the DMEs, VORs, and so on. And that's really all there is to it. In the meantime, the rest of the problems here have solved themselves, so yeah, that's about all there is to it. So we can continue our flight as if nothing happened, because it is literally like nothing happened. It's a non-event. Alright, continue on then. Good morning, my friends. The sun has started to rise and we are on the approach to Hong Kong. Now, as expected, the Typhoon is still here and the weather radar is speaking a clear language over here, with pretty much everything being covered in green. So let's go ahead and start turning on the fasten seatbelt sign already, so that the cabin gets seated and gets prepared, and then we'll have to see just how turbulent this is actually going to get. We're clear to descend via the arrival, and the arrival itself is the Sierra 7 Alpha, which leads us from Sierra down here via Murray Silva towards Leams, from where we are going to start the approach for runway 07 left most likely, but ATC still has to confirm that. I think for the time being we can just start with our arrival preparation, perhaps getting the ATIS in the very beginning, which is on 128.2.
Ono Airport. Information India. 1600 Zulu. Wind 100 at 12. Visibility 6. Sky conditions. View at 1000 feet. Scattered at 2000 feet. Temperature 29er. Dew point 25. QNH 09er 4. Density altitude 2200 feet. Arriving and departing runways 7 left, 7 right, 7 center. Transition level 105. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information India. Hong Kong International Airport.
Okay, information India is on board. It sounds like the worst of the Typhoon has actually moved over here already. Pretty happy we don't have any of that.
Cathay 270, contact Hong Kong radar on 123.95.
Contacting Hong Kong radar on 123.95, Cathay
So, our FO
270.
is still in charge of the radios down here. Don't think we'll need that for the foreseeable future. Well then, let's call approach and see what they're going to say. In the
Hong Kong
meantime,
radar, Cathay 270, morning descending through flight level 160.
Cathay 270, Hong Kong radar identified. Jowens.
okay, so our clearance was to
Alpenia
descend via the
760,
arrival. That
contact
means we can go all the way
Guangzhou
down
on
to 6,000, which is where the arrival
133.275
ends.
Kung.
Okay,
Over to
actually it's
Guangzhou
3,000
Control on 133.275, Bohemia
We can go all the way down to
760.
3. But we still have a couple of flight level restrictions
Bohemia
here, so we're going to
760,
maintain
flight level
the altitude
300.
standard. We don't need
Bohemia
meters anymore, since Hong Kong
760,
operates in feet,
radar
China
contact.
does not. Or rather, the rest of China does
Cathay
not.
270, Hong Kong radar. Contact Hong Kong. Approach on 119.1.
Switching to Hong Kong approach on 119.1, Cathay 270.
Speed out constraint start descent blue. So let's call the next sector, see what they say. If any of them has a runway for us.
Hong Kong approach, Cathay 270, morning, descending through flight
Speed
level
descent,
140.
Atlanta.
Cathay 270 Heavy, Hong Kong approach identified. Good morning, expect the ILS runway. 7 left approach into Hong Kong.
Lovely, so 7 left is confirmed.
Expect the ILS runway 7 left approach into Hong Kong, Cathay 270 heavy.
That is excellent, so then let's quickly set up BTV and then we can start the approach briefing. Might take a little while. Again, we are flying to a huge airport, so the map is rather complex. Alright, here it is. So, runway 7 left is set as landing runway. We will definitely assume a wet runway with today's conditions. That means we can vacate over here in Charlie 8, set BTV exit, and auto brake is selected. Okay, perfect. So, once we've passed Murray, we can set the local QNH, which is 90904, and then I suggest we absolutely don't want to fly into this, but only green over the airport. Very good. Okay, so with all of those out of the way, let's go ahead and start the approach briefing, please. And that's going to be for you, my friend. Alright, thanks. So we are going to fly an ILS approach runway 07 left in Hong Kong Sierra 7 Alpha arrival, and ultimately it will be either vectors or just via the standard approach to the final for runway 07 left. Minimum is 230, and in case of go around, it's let's see how high we're actually climbing. 5,000 feet via the on-off waypoints. Okay, extra fuel and time.
Cathay 270, descend altitude 6,000, QNH 9085.
Descending to 6,000. QNH 985, Cathay 270.
Okay, so 6,000 set, and I really don't know why we used so much extra fuel, but we just have a minute extra. Which should be okay with the current weather, though. Okay, so, flight level 60 blue, set QNH 985. Alright, that's set, passing 9,500 now. Alright then, for the approach we are going to use flight director guidance, ILS approach, runway 07 left, flaps full, maximum reverse, BTV, vacate to the right. One hotspot, that's crossing to 07 center on the way in. And that's everything I have. Nothing special, nothing non-standard. That's for the arrival. Definitely the weather. With the winds going up the hill over there in Hong Kong, we might very well expect a wind shear. If wind shear happens, we are going to advance the thrust levers to toga, follow the flight directors. Do not change the configuration until we're out of wind shear. Whoever notices first that we're out of wind shear is going to call that out, and then we're going to transition into the standard logic.
7 left approach.
Any questions on that? No? Lovely. So that's our briefing complete. Now, we've passed 10,000, so lights on, seatbelts on, EFIS control panel, we'll select LS, and then down here on the nav aids we can clear VOR1 so that it auto-tunes again. Alright, perfect, so that's everything done. Then let's have a look at the approach checklist, please. So, Barrow Ref, QNH 9085, cross-checked. Minimums, Barrow 230, runway condition. Actually, we should set that one to wet. So, runway condition wet, and auto brake, BTV. Approach checklist complete. Okay, lovely. So all of that good stuff is done already. Then let's get a correct viewpoint here. Because the default point is much too low. You can only see like half the heads-up display. This is much, much better. Lowest level of brightness is good. Sun is just about rising. Okay, it says destination EFOP over here. Oh man, and there comes the next front. Let's hope we're gonna be on the ground before that arrives. So in case of a go around, we'll just fuck off to our alternate airport straight away. It says destination EFOP in amber, but I'm not too worried about that. Normally the alternate fuel in the plan is much more than you'd actually need. But we can cross-check, so let's go down, fuel and load, alternate, and clear info. See, now it's looking much better. 6 minutes extra. Not the world, but better than nothing. But yeah, this is definitely not the weather where you mess around at an airport.
Descending to altitude 2500, turning left heading 315 for vectors to the ILS runway 7 left approach. Cathay 270.
Okay, heading 315, descend 2500. So, thrust dial open, descent heading. That heading takes us into the vicinity of mainland China. Let's bring up the chart and monitor what they're doing. So a couple of lights down here, that's probably a wind park or something. So there is no speed restriction, then let's not fly slower than we absolutely need to. 220 knots please. And vertical speed 1000. Very strong wind here. Speed, vertical speed. Okay, up here everything's set. The cabin crew is seated already. Just green on the radar for the time being. Green is no problem at all.
Cathay 270. Turn right, heading 340.
Turning right, heading 340, Cathay 270.
Okay, heading 340. And I will take the radios now, thank you. So, still quite a drift angle. Look at that, we're almost drifting off the ILS chart. It's not a problem.
Cathay 270 heavy. Proceed direct. Victor Hotel 701. Cleared for the ILS runway. 7 left approach. Speed at 180 knots until established.
Nav. Victor Hotel 701. Speed 180 until established. Cathay 270. Thrust side, load and descent. Alt 2500 blue. Speed 180. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. So that's exactly the S speed I like. Activate approach phase. Manage speed. You can hear the rain hitting the windshields. So quite a bit of headwind now.
Hong Kong approach. Bohemia 760, flight level 140.
Bohemia 760.
Speed's coming back nicely, we're about to reach 180. Then we'll just let the airplane descend into the glide. So we're cleared for the ILS, 7 left. Land 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2, glide slope localizer blue. Getting nicely back onto the glide. I like it. Speed, vertical speed. So you go onto the terrain, please. Because there is some high terrain in the area. Namely straight over here. Alright, looking excellent. Paralleling the glide slope. A little bit of yellow in the mix now, but that's still fine. As long as the red from here doesn't arrive before we land, we should be good. Just 150 knots ground speed, not exactly the fastest, but doesn't really matter. For the time being, all I care about is really keeping my airplane stabilized. In those weather conditions, I don't care about the weather or what else. So another Cathay coming over here. Let's just ensure that that's not generated by FS traffic. Move. Yeah, looking good for the time.
HKC 90458. Direct line. Cleared for the ILS. Runway 07 right approach. Descend and maintain flight level 060 until established.
So what's that other aircraft doing?
Down to 6,000, cleared for the ILS, runway 07 right approach, HKC 90458.
Oh, now it's gone. Interesting. Must have been from FS traffic then.
Cathay 270. Contact Hong Kong Tower on 118.7.
118.7, Cathay 270.
Bohemia 760. Proceed direct line. Cleared for the ANAP Zulu runway 07 right approach. Descend.
Hong Kong Tower, Cathay 270 heavy, ILS 07 left. Alt.
Descending to 6,000, cleared for the RNAV Zulu runway. 07 right approach. Bohemia 760.
Cathay 270 heavy, Hong Kong Tower, roger, continue approach.
Thrust load and descent. So let's catch the glide.
2,500.
Checked. Flaps 2. Speed check, flaps 2. Speed vertical speed. Okay, this is interesting. Glide slope disarmed. Come on, capture the low,
Heavy,
please.
Hong Kong Tower.
2,000.
Winds 100 at 12. Runway 7 left, cleared to land.
7 left, clear to land, Cathay 270. Okay, flaps 3. Speed check, flap 3. And flaps full. Speed checked. Flaps full. So, landing checklist, Econ memo, landing no blue, landing checklist complete. Wind check. So, hot electrospin mode. Of course, we want to see the runway. Cathay 270 wind check.
Cathay 270, winds 120 at 10.
120 at 10.
1,000.
Okay. It's checked. Come on, stow the table. Thank you. Ooh, losing quite a bit of speed here. So, 15 degrees of crab angle. Definitely not want to do an auto land under these conditions. Manual flight. Approach 1.
$500. 400 above.
Checked.
$300 minimum.
Continue. Man, still 30 knots of crosswind. We are within the limits of the aircraft though.
100.
Keep descending.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
And just throw it down. That's how you do this. In the optimal case without the lag. So, spoilers, reverse green, decel. Manual brakes. Well, welcome to Hong Kong. That was an interesting one.
70, welcome to Hong Kong. Contact ground on 122.6.
122.6, Cathay 270. Alright, we'll just vacate that runway for now.
Cabin is ready for deboarding.
No, not yet. Whew, that was an interesting one.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hong Kong. We have just landed safely at
So,
Hong Kong
November
International
62 it
Airport.
is.
Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened.
Hong Kong ground Cathay 270, request taxi to gate November 62.
Did you know that Hong Kong is known for its stunning skyline and vibrant food scene? Be sure to try some local delicacies while you're here. On behalf of Captain Emmanuel, First Officer Stephanie, and the entire crew, thank you for flying with Cathay Pacific. We hope you enjoyed.
Cathay 270, taxi to N32 via Charlie 8, Charlie, Foxtrot, Foxtrot 7, cross runway 25 center, then Alpha 11, Alpha, Alpha 8, Bravo 7. Have a good day.
Cathay 270, taxi to gate November 32 via Charlie 8, Charlie, Foxtrot, Foxtrot 7, Alpha 11, Alpha, Alpha 8, Bravo 7. So, Charlie, and then Foxtrot. Okay, let's do that. Enroute chart all the way in, please. And let's hope that it will eventually load. And then, let's go. So, off to the right, on to Charlie. And I suppose taxi might take a minute here, so let's accelerate this a bit. Alright, so here's our gate, November 32. Slightly different from the requested one, but still that's what ATC has assigned us. Looks like we need one last pinch of power. Alright, so A350 1000 is on the guidance system. Let's do that nice and slow. 3 meters, 2 meters, 1 meter, stop. Nice. APU bleed on, and 1 off, 2 off. Alrighty. Coming through, all doors in park. So, disarm the slides, and you have a handling operator already. Request deboarding, please. So then, parking checklist. Parking brake or trucks. That's the parking brake set. Wing lights off. Parking checklist complete. Alright then, let's get shocks in a position, ground power as well. And with that we can release the parking brake. And we will connect an air conditioning unit as well, please. Then we can shut the APU off. And here we go. So now that we're at the gate, let's just make sure that the HUD is properly stowed here. Because I didn't put the protector over it before stowing it during taxi. Here we go, that's how it's supposed to be. Well then, and with that, welcome to Hong Kong Airport. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I did. I surely had a blast flying this. It was a very interesting landing, even though I gotta admit, decrabbing it was a little bit interesting because I didn't have my feet properly on the paddles and they kinda slipped away a little bit during the decrab, which you surely saw during our touchdown. If not, you can revisit it now and then you will definitely see it when you know about it. But with that, welcome to Hong Kong. Let me know how you like this one. Give me your feedback, especially also on the lighting configuration in the cockpit. Since I basically kinda tuned the airplane like we would normally do it in the real world, especially with weather like this, where you would keep all the floodlights and the dome lights and stuff off and really just have the background lighting up. I didn't do that on the channel beforehand because I thought, well, maybe you guys aren't too happy to see mostly black on the screen, but nonetheless, give me your feedback so that I know for the future. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. As always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.